communicating with you our experience that was a participative process of the civil society to write down and make pass at the Congress a new cooperative law. Okay, this happens in Mozambique. I think that Mozambique is not very well known, and this is for the reason I would like to provide some context so you can understand this important achievement. So Mozambique is in the Atlantic Ocean, surrounded by South Africa, Malawi, Tanzania, Zimbabwe. The capital is Maputo. The official language is Portuguese. There are several local languages, but the main ones are Swahili, Makua, and Sena. Regarding the population, the major age group is between 15 and 64 years old. And inside this group, the men are female. And this is a very interesting data. And Mozambique is 800,000 kilometers and 21.8 million of people. 72% they live in the countryside, and they work in agriculture. According to the World Bank, Mozambique poverty is 55.2% of poverty. Means that half of the population is poor. And the life expectancy at birth is 46 years old, 48 years old. That is connect with poverty. No health, no food, or small conditions for survive. Literacy is 54% is illiterated, and mainly women are illiterated. So, talking about economy, we can say that now service are the main income activity, followed by agriculture and industry. And the GNI, means the profit per capita per year, is around $510 per year. So this can explain later on why we decide to do and our methodology. So when I start, I was invited to say, Maria, do you want to start in Mozambique, change the cooperative law? I was alone. So, but our project has few money, no computer, no printer, no car, nothing, only myself. And what else? The people, the Mozambicans. They were the main resources for me. So I start working with them, and this is what I'm going to explain to you. But going back, I need to go back. In Mozambique, you see, since '75, when Mozambique became independent, there was a socialism regime that took over in '94, but after the '94, a civil war started. But during this socialism regime, cooperatives, they start well, but later on they were connected with poverty, bad governance, inefficiency, inequity, abuses on cooperatives. So they were a red flag We cannot speak about cooperatives in Mozambique at that time. Nobody, no farmer wants to talk about cooperatives in Mozambique. So it was a long process from obsolete to modern cooperatives that we have done in Mozambique. Oh, something wrong here. Okay, so in 95, NCBA, when we arrived in the north of Mozambique, we found a problem. The problem was the country was destroyed. No roads, no food. But the farmers, they want to start to produce something. But they start and they want to sell. But because the war, they lose the ability of selling, of doing markets and be together. So they were robbed. So there was like a situation, a very complex situation. So we asked them, okay, but you feel alone, but we can join, we can work together, and together we can do something. And instead of telling this way and being together, cooperatives, we adopt the name of association, farm association, because cooperatives were at that time a pejorative term, as I explained before. But soon associations become a very, very successful as a way to make business to work together, but they were facing problems because the banks, they don't recognize them as legal entities. The enterprises, they don't recognize them as legal entities. So there was a need to build the idea because in fact they function already as a cooperative. So it was a need to really change the law, the old law that came from the colonial times. Okay, then the first step was to establish and discuss with all people the difference between cooperatives, associations, and business enterprises, assumptions, concepts, roles, and this was a participative learning. So instead of inviting like a brain telling people, okay, people, what is an enterprise or whatsoever, we promote discussions with people so people can intervene and discover by themselves the difference. And, okay, but let me explain. So our strategy was choose different ways, adopt combined ways, various means to achieve the new cooperative law. So we start as a very small group, okay? So I was alone, then I approach a small group that I work with them for years and years, and I know they were concerned about the need of the change of the old cooperative law to the new cooperative law. And we start in an informal way studying. Studying what? Clarity, the clarity principles, the clarity documents, researching in the internet. And then we found and looking stories all over in the world. And then we found, hey man, but cooperatives, they function in other countries. They must function here. So then let's do it. So we adopt study circles. Okay, let me explain briefly which study circles it's a methodology that I learned with the Swedish at Lidköping. And study circles is exactly for people that are almost illiterate, or they don't know the subject, or the subject is so complex that people run away. They say, oh, this is law, this is very complicated, this is not for us. No. The study circles is a method that is very suitable for a civil society. Why? Because, you see, usually the donors, they invest on infrastructures, but they don't invest in adult education. And adult education is to prepare adults, the great majority of them, they are illiterate or more or less illiterate, to become well-informed so they can be active and they can be part of the process and they can share with the political power their ideas and discuss with the power. Because the power looks to the poor people saying, oh, they are poor. Their arguments are poor arguments. So the idea was help everybody to be sure what they want so they can propose to the government. And this is the proposal of study circles. Okay, study circles is a voluntary way. Everybody can be part of the study circles. No age. You can have 20, 60. They are informal. They can meet when they want. They don't need a teacher. They choose a leader among them. And they share. There are equal share conversation. The subject can be different, political, business, social, doesn't matter. There are no evaluation, because the evaluation is the capacity to dialogue with the power, dialogue with the others, have a consistent ideas of what we want to propose. And the ability to recognize the contribution of the others is fundamental in the study circles. Okay, let's start talking about Mozambique, our strategy. Usually, we start talking about bad things. What you need. This is a disaster. You are so poor. This is horrible. People, we just start opposite. You know, we start, you know, just saying, telling people about successful stories, you know, demonstrating in Mozambique that things can happen there. So we invited the Brazilians to come to Mozambique to tell and to show their story in Brazil. So don't talk about Mozambique. Don't talk about the mistakes done. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about what is happening. Let's inspire the people at the different levels. So you can see in the photos, you see the Brazilian, one of the OCB, that is a Brazilian cooperative organization, that they are here, talking in countryside with people, or in the second photo with ministers, with political power. You have the Minister of Plan, Minister of Commerce, Minister of Agriculture. So we try to convince these two main, you know, target audience, creating an enable ambience so we can propose something. At the same time, we recruit lawyers. The lawyers, we recruit a Mozambican lawyer and a foreign lawyer. And the lawyers, they were our supporters. They were not there to telling us what you need to decide. No. We discuss and we ask them, do you think this can work? How can put this in legal words? So they were our facilitators. And through discussions at all levels, they help us to improve our law, and everybody could contribute and feel respect of their contribution. You can see the lawyers talking with people in the first photo, at second photo, in workshops, everywhere. Dialogue. Dialogue was also very important, but dialogue with everybody, from north to south, with banks, with the private sector, with intellectuals, with parties, with opponents. I have friends that say, hey, run away from the opponents because they are a stone in our way. I say, no, don't be afraid. Because if they are our opponents, they can put questions and help us to clarify people, and then we will have a stronger law. So they are not our opponents, they are our facilitators because they are going to question ourselves. So instead, because they question so much, they become our promoters, just the opposite. And so you see in the photos talking with the policymakers, you see, intellectuals and police opinion leaders, with intellectuals, the second photo, and with farmers. And so advocacy was mobilizing the key groups around the benefit of cooperatives. With the farmers, we saw there in the second photo an exhibition with our former president, Gebuza, showing him, look, the cooperatives, here you have their products. So convincing him that it's important you to support what you are doing. And you saw the media. We also use the media, and through the media, community radios, you see the lawyer being interviewed by community radios, newspapers, TV news, everything at the same time, creating an enable ambience for the whole country, be part of the process. At the same time, we promote cooperative products, because it's not only to promote cooperatives. We want to promote their products, to say, you see, they have products, they can do it. So we address the public image of the cooperatives through promoting quality and scale. You see some exhibitions where we are showing what COPs can produce and can negotiate their business. So promoting awareness was through the next, the target audience was a critical point. Demonstrating dynamism within cooperative sector in order to strengthen the notion that cooperatives are a model that can work and are sustainable. And with all these strategy all together, combining all this, we arrive to the parliament and we say, to the parliament that we have already negotiated with Frelimo, Renamo, with all the parties. So when we arrive to the parliament, they say, here is the law that we want you approve. There were only two issues they discussed with us at the last few minutes, and we have been negotiating. But the final thing is that the law was passed by unanimity and acclamation. And the president of the parliament says, on behalf of this parliament, I would like to thank NCBA and the civil society group for their civic initiative and for the way they have conduct this process. For the first time, together, we have created a law which came from the civil society. This proves that together we can build and develop our country. So instead of being against the government, instead of creating, fightings, we try to approach them, negotiate with them, building consensus, and ratifying our initial draft till we get the final draft. But more than the draft, from a study circle, we become an organization, a civil society organization. We are an EPEX organization formed by 22 organizations, millions of participants from agriculture sector, health sector, building sector, credit sector, many sectors. And now we are promoting this. This is the group in the beginning, and we have our chairman, that is a doctor from a cooperative of doctors that is signing this organization. Thank you so much. So you see, we can build a law. We don't need just a special, very sophisticated people. We can do it if we want to do it. We can do it. This is what my story.